what's in your wallet. I got that fire. I got that fire. I got that fire. Fire, fire, fire. I got that fire.
Yeah.
Yes, y'all. What it do? What it do? It's your man, 50 Grand Kevin Barnes, militant with a microphone, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. Hey, also, I'm the mumble mouth Negro, right? Like, welcome to the show. It's the Big Black Sports Show, man. The world class smartass is in the building, man. I got my partner with me, Mr. Purdue, Coach Tank. What it do with you, man?
Man, it's all good, man. Glad to be here. Shout out to everybody listening in. What's going on, everybody?
Yes, man. Like I said, it's the Big Black Sports Show. It's what we do typically on a Tuesday. Shout out to everybody who checked out Outlaw Radio last night. We had brother Jamu Butler and the Heal the Hood consortium with him, and it was a good conversation. Support that brother's event, man. If it's something that's positive in the community, we got to support it. We got to do for us. You know what I'm saying? So that's what that's all about. Go back and check the show out. Hit us up if you got something to say, some contribution. The chat room is always popping, whether it's Outlaw Radio, which we do on Mondays and Wednesdays, or the Big Black Sports Show, which we do on Tuesdays, or Outlaw Nation, which I do on Thursdays. So make sure you could just pick one show, right? Like, you don't have, I'm not asking you to listen all 4 days in a row. Pick one or two that you like to listen to and say, I'm gonna be there on Monday, Kev, or I'm gonna be there on Wednesday, or I'm gonna be there on Thursday. Just come support your boy, man. So it's the Big Black Sports Show, man. Why do we talk about sports? Sports is very important, and especially in the Black community, since it exists as a possible way out of some chaos and some confusion. Maybe it can change your life or break one of those cycles of poverty that we go through. You know, we suffer from generational poverty, so sometimes you got to break the cycle. So sometimes you get a rich, mega rich athlete in your family that just changes everything. Nothing's the same after that. Sports is very important, and there's also a very, very intensive racial aspect to sports. And I think if you don't pay attention to that, then you're not really a sports fan. You like somebody just like to watch people run around in tight uniforms. Right. So, Big Black Sports Show, man. What's going on with you, man? It's no football. How you making it, man? You know, this is the dry season for us football guys.
Right. Man, well, I watched a couple of Bucks games this weekend. Of course, I watched the NCAA tournament championship. And I predicted, my prediction came true. Kansas won.
Okay.
Kansas won. And I was pretty much glad to see the Bucks, man. Well, they lost to the Mavericks. They lost. I think they lost a close one to the Mavericks, man. But they got the Bulls tonight. They've been balling to me, man. I'm liking what I see. You know, it's still be good to have a nice athletic guard or athletic small forward. You know, coming off the bench for us, gives a spark, man. But other than that, I like what I see going into the playoffs, man. So yeah, other than that, man, I just been chilling this weekend, man. Went to go vote today. Other than that, enjoying my evening.
That's what's up, man. Shout out to everybody who voted, man. Exercise your democratic duty. Shout out to T.R. Arthur. She said, "Good evening, Kevin Tank. What's going on, my sister?" You can see that comment on screen. There's a cash app below that if you want to hit that. Donate to the movement, right? But well, we're gonna talk about the Bucks. I'm gonna get into the Bucks. I feel a certain kind of way. I have my breakdown and my analysis of the Bucks, as well as other things. So we'll pontificate for about an hour or so in regards to sports. So welcome to the show. So I feel like, you know, if like I said, I'm a football guy. And so we always start off talking about football. So I'm gonna talk about the mock draft. And so I got to pull up my notes here. There we go. So I'll get those together. We'll talk about that. But look, like I said, man, Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, support us. Shout out to everybody who watched the show last night. Shout out to Ajamu Butler. I got a bunch of guests coming up, man. Shout out to Rock. I see you, Rock, in the chat room. He said top of it. What's going on, my brother? Yeah, man. So I just want people to feel love, man. It's a terrible time. I feel like we don't forgot how to smile. We don't forgot how to have a good time. Even when we go out now, like you see this mass shooting in Sacramento. Every time it's a large gathering, all these festivals where people are going to concerts, motherfuckers going crazy, running stampede, mass shooting. we've forgotten how to have a good time. I know a lot of times when you go out, especially here, you look around the club, you see a bunch of mad motherfuckers. I'm like, I don't even know why you came. He is in the corner. It's like, dog, you at the wrong spot, man. So we got to get back to that, man. We got to get back to that. And even in the sports arenas, man, this is what when I say what's going on. If you look a lot of times, if you look at what's going on in sports, it's kind of like a microcosm of society, right? Like, because you usually those same issues kind of exist on, we talk about LGBTQ rights, civil rights, black people being shortchanged once again, large profit margins, what's being done with the all these kinds of issues. It's the same shit that's going on in society. So, the sports fans are a reflection of that. These crowds, especially in the NBA, these motherfuckers getting loose. They come on. They on damn near on the floor telling telling players about their families and all kinds of shit. And I don't know what security protocols the NBA has in the place or whatever, but I would hope that they be real careful, man, because
Right.
shit is, people get obsessive about this shit. So sports is important, man. But okay, so let's start off by talking about the mock draft. People say, what's the mock draft? So after you go through this whole process with the combines and all the recruiting's done and going and scouting, and so now it's about time for the draft where they actually buy the Negroes, right? We had the market show the Negro meat off, no pun intended, pause, right? Like, but so now it's time for the actual purchase of the Negro. So
Right.
we want to talk about who's getting what. Now you got to understand, the Packers are we as Packer fans or supporters. I don't like the word fan, right? That to me that indicates a certain kind of fanatic. That's short. That's what fan is short of, fanatic.
Right. Fanatic.
I'm a supporter of the Green Bay Packers, right? So we know we took some heavy losses with Valdez-Scantling and Devontae Adams being traded away, and the salary cap can be a bitch. We lost Zadarius, so we don't know what his back gonna do or what it do, but good luck to that brother. But I'm saying, there's been some leakage, right? We still have a defense that has some pieces. There's some pieces all over the team. I feel like there's just a couple spots to plug. So when we start talking about the draft, the mock draft, I want to go to the top 10, and then I wanted to look at just who they said the Packers were potentially drafting. I'm not gonna go through every not every damn pick of the Cincinnati Bengals at 15. Like, nobody care about that shit. So of course, now we talked about this. You and I, we talked about who's gonna go first overall, right? Like, so I told you it wouldn't be a running back, so I was right. And it's not a quarterback, right? They're saying now that most people were expecting Aiden Hutchinson from Michigan. I don't know if you watch the Wolverines, you've seen their All-American defensive end, Aiden Hutchinson. He was a good player to me, okay? I thought he was, but I didn't think he was NFL freak. Like, I didn't see the Bosa. Like, when I look, and especially we talking about a white dude, right? Like, so I didn't see Bosa, or I didn't see what's the big white boys from Pewaukee from here? JJ. I didn't see that kind of freaky athleticism, but he was a good player. He looked like he had good awareness, good instincts.
I don't see top 5 players. I say top 10, but I don't see top 5.
Right. But people are saying that that's probably, he's not going to be number 1. At first it was, I don't know if this is I know maybe, sometimes players drafts, their stock drops in the draft, but so they're saying it's going to be the big boy from Georgia, Trayvon Walker, the big defensive tackle boy.
Yeah.
What, he ran like a 4.5, like 300 pounds.
Right. And after his performance in the combine, man, it should have been no question that he's a top 3 player. I would love for the Packers, even though the Packers need a receiver, man. If dude was to fall into our hands somehow, some way, shit. Gotta get that big boy.
No, he's a defensive lineman.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If the Packers, even though we need receivers, if he was to fall in our hands, I would pick him before I get a receiver. No, he's a generational player.
I think you talking about somebody different. I'm talking about Trayvon Walker, the defensive lineman from Georgia, who they're saying is going to go first over Aiden Hutchinson.
Right, that's the big boy, right? The really big lineman that ran a 4.5.
Yeah, but he's a defensive lineman.
Right. So I'm saying, like, if in the draft, if somehow, some way he was to fall down to the Packers,
No.
even though we need receivers, I would take him.
Okay. No.
Man, dude, come on, man. Those numbers are crazy. We'll never 4.5 40.
I'm saying he'll never fall that far. There's no way. That would be unless he like got caught smoking the backwoods or something the night before
Oh
the
no,
draft.
he won't.
Yeah.
He won't. But I'm just saying though, the
Right.
point I'm trying to make though is that he's that good. He's that much of a generational talent that I will ignore my team's needs to pick
Right.
his ass up and build around him on
Yes,
defense.
some teams operate with that best. We're gonna pick the best player available, regardless of position. You know, and he's that kind of athlete where you do, like you said, you do have to do that if he's available. You gotta say, shit, we get back in the next pick, right? But he won't slip. If he slips, he won't slip outside. Maybe he won't be first.
No, yeah, he won't slip.
You know,
That's
I mean,
wishful
we're
thinking.
talking about Jacksonville, so you know they've been shit as far as management and whatnot for a long time. So I don't trust that they'll make the right decision. They still trying to rebuild something. So they might take Aiden Hutchinson first, and then he may slip. I mean, they're saying the Lions would get Aiden Hutchinson at 2, but they could flip flop, is what I'm saying. Those two
Right.
picks could flip flop because I do believe Hutchinson will be a good player. I just, like I said, when I watched him play, I didn't see like a Jadeveon Clowney freakish athleticism type. I seen a good, strong football player. Don't get me wrong. Good defensive lineman, a lot of good instincts, but I didn't think he was like, you know, man, a physical specimen like Montez Sweat out in DC or something. So
I was expecting more of a better performance when they played Georgia.
yeah. Georgia
Yeah.
they put hands and feet on them.
Elbows, kneecaps.
Yeah, Georgia put hands. Georgia put hands on Alabama too, though. So you know, hey, you know, it's like getting knocked out by Mike Tyson. Like you couldn't have beat him, right?
Yeah. And that big boy was eating. He was eating all during the playoffs.
Yeah. Oh man, Georgia's defensive front. The linebacker. We're gonna get to him. We're gonna get to that brother. That brother, they saying that this brother is like Jonathan Vilma. You know, man, the brother's nice. He has range as a linebacker. Shout out to Paris LaShawn. He said, "Peace, Kevin Tank. This is brother Che and Kruma from Shabaka's Black Experience in Hands and Frontline Black News." What's going on, my brother? I see that you are running for mayor in Denver, right? Shout out to him. Shout out to that brother.
Yeah, boy.
Hey, man, I hope you win. We got a mayoral election going on right now up here. I don't even want to look at the TV. I'm gonna have to get to it sooner or later, but I'm gonna do it after my show. So at number 3, they're saying the Texans are gonna take this boy Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon. Now this is another one. Now he's nice. He has some skills, but he's one of those players where in some of the biggest games he got shut down, right? Okay. But I understand this is the NFL. I mean, that's college, and we talking about the NFL where you can't just shape and form your whole blocking scheme to block him or whatever. But you know, and in terms of being that kind of athlete that I was talking about, Thibodeau is that kind of 6'7", 289 pounds, run a 4.6, something like that, you know, just ugly with it, right? And can turn the corner, do all the bending. And
you know, people don't realize how incredible that is, man. How amazing that is. How huge, how big some of these guys are, and how fast they are. To be 6'6", 6'7", and run a 4.6, 4.7, 4.5 40. That is crazy, man. That's crazy athleticism.
That's what I be telling these cats when they do all this mouthing and this wolfing about the old school dudes talking about what they'll do now. Oh, you couldn't have played when I played. Dude, you don't really hear football players like you hear DBs, old school DBs, talk shit to receivers maybe and say, you know, y'all now we can't even touch them, right? Yeah. But in terms of like up front, them old school defensive linemen, when the average lineman in the NFL weighed 250 pounds, you know, if he's 6'2", 6'3", you had some big dudes, some freaks, but there was one every, you know. Now you getting these dudes coming out of Florida, Texas, and California that grown trees that's 200 pounds, right? 4'5", right? So yeah, man, that's why I tell them, oh, dudes, your ass in. You know, Dick Buckness wouldn't have been able to cover none of the tight ends. Kittle,
right?
Gronkowski, none of them dudes. He wouldn't have been able to cover none of them. So
he wouldn't have been able to shed any blocks.
Right. Yeah, you talking about big, huge ass line.
Big ass lineman.
These linemen, them boys too. Because you got old linemen that's 6'10, 300 pounds, 6'9, running 4'6",
Yep.
4'8", man.
Yeah, we got one.
It's ridiculous, man. It's ridiculous. Shout out, hey, there you go. Shout out to my brother Jamu Butler, man, in Heal the Hood. What's happening, my brother, man? Good show last night. People gave me a lot of good feedback. I see people still commenting on that show. So go back and check it out. It's actually on my it's archived on my timeline, and it's in the People's News Network. So it's a good show, man. And I've shared it a bunch of times. Go to the YouTube page. I always forget. Support our YouTube page. Our numbers on YouTube is ass. And that's the best way I could put it. That's like the nice way to say it. They ass. Like our YouTube is garbage. We got to get those numbers up. So
man, check us out on YouTube, y'all.
Man, subscribe to the YouTube page. Who we got next? Number 5, the Giants saying they're gonna take Evan Neal at Alabama. And once again, here's Alabama, right? Like between Alabama and Georgia, how many draft picks will be in like these are football factories. So when we talking about these players now, you look at their athletic programs, they are building. First of all, they're gonna find great athletes, and then they're gonna put them through the top-notch conditioning and weightlifting. These dudes is coming out of college, man. That's why they're getting so much money. They're coming out of college, they phenomenal athletes, man.
I mean, and that's part of the recruiting pitch. Part of the recruiting pitch is say, hey, we send athletes to the NFL every year that go late in rounds. We'll send a guy that never started his entire career. He's been the second and third stringer his entire career, and he still makes it to the NFL. That's the type of programs they have. That much talent, they're that deep.
And I can tell you that's the difference between what goes on in Madison versus what goes on in Tuscaloosa, or what goes on at Georgia, because they're recruiting those kinds of athletes down there. They're not coming up here. Like most kids, you get the hell recruited out of you by the Big Ten, maybe the Big East for the most part up here. If you're, those top-notch athletes. I see Corey's getting offers from all over. So, I mean, he's more of the exception, not the norm. But you don't see Alabama, Texas A&M, Georgia. They don't even come up here. They ain't coming to Milwaukee to see who. Like,
it's very little. Very little. We've had some skilled players from down south or some past teams, but yeah, they're not heavily recruited like you said. But we've had a couple of guys come up, because it gets kind of crowded down there.
Man,
it gets kind of crowded on those programs for a skilled player, so they'll leave, when there's no room.
I coached in the city conference for 12 years. I never seen an SEC coach come to Milwaukee. Never. And even we've been in playoff games against the number 2. We play Homestead. They was number 2 in the state. There was no SEC coaches there. There was a lot of coaches, but there was no, hey, it's Alabama over there, or that's Oregon, or that's US. Those premium prime schools aren't coming to Wisconsin. If you get out there and they see you, you're gonna be one of the best players in the history of the state. And I think like that's why an athlete like Corey is getting recruited. Corey Smith at Catholic Memorial. That's why he gets that kind of recruitment, because he's showing that 4.5, 4.4 speed type, and he is a very, very skilled athlete. I've known the kid for a very long time. But anyways, let's get back to the mock draft. The New York Giants are taking this big boy out of Alabama, and I say the New York Giants been sputtering for a long time. So when you start building a team, that's what you do. You start with a great offensive lineman, and you build from there. I like Daniel Jones as a quarterback. New York just been so shitty. Like, just it's a deficiency in talent. They've drafted wrong, bad free agent signings, bad coaches. So they just, so I like Daniel Jones, but he's looked horrible, at times, because the team has looked horrible. So I think it's that could be a good move for them to take the big boy. Unless, like you say, one of those top dudes, those top defensive linemen happen to slide. whoever it's gonna be like, we taking that dude, right? Let's see. We got okay, so number 6. So now you won this debate between us. There is a quarterback that they're saying that will go in the first round. I said none of them will go. They're saying Malik Willis will go to the Carolina Panthers. And this is all just a mock draft, y'all. Malik Willis, about 6 feet tall, about 235 pounds, got a great arm, great athlete, seems to be a good dude.
He's only 6 feet tall.
Yeah, he's like 6'1", maybe. He's
Yeah,
not.
he
He's
looks
not
bigger
6.
than that. He
Nah,
must be that afro.
maybe so. Well, he's a little swole though. He ain't. He's not a rail thin 6'2"
No,
or 1 or whatever he is.
I was
He's
thinking more like 6'2", 6'3". But
no.
he looks But when I think about it, yeah, he's kind of like a shorter, stockier quarterback.
Well, I mean, if you're 6 feet tall, you're not really short and stocky. Yeah, if you talking about Tua and like Russell, them dudes ain't they hype their height up. Them dudes is 5'11". Them
Yeah.
dudes ain't no damn 6 feet tall. 6 feet tall is 6 feet tall. That's not short. Okay, you're not the
I mean,
biggest dude.
for a pro quarterback, that's short.
I guess. I figured the prototypical quarterback is between 6 feet and 6'2". If you get a 6'4" 6'5". I think what's the boy in San Diego? 6'6". Herbert.
Herbert, yep.
That boy is big. That's a big, tall dude.
Man.
Yeah, he's a
that used to be like you said, like it's kind of changed now because back in the 80s, the 90s, you had those quarterbacks that were kind of like, the 6 feet range, 6'2", 6'3", and then the league started to prefer taller quarterbacks.
That don't always work. Deshaun Watson's not that tall.
Right.
Tavares Jackson's not that tall. Some of the better Aaron Rodgers is not that tall. Mahomes might be 6'2".
But think of guys like Randall Cunningham, guys like Culpepper. The league started getting bigger.
It's been some big quarterbacks, but I don't think the league is. I think actually nowadays the more common trend is to see smaller quarterbacks because now you see like a Tua or
I think that's because of the offense that's right now. The offenses.
Boy name in Phoenix, Deshaun Murray, is that his name? The quarterback in Phoenix, the little short quarterback in Phoenix.
Kyle Murray.
What's his name?
Kyler Murray.
Yeah, Kyler Murray, the Texas legend. Like they say, this dude is like the greatest football player in the history of Texas. He might be 6 feet. He's not that big. So, like you said, the offenses, the RPO thing now kind of negates because more creative offensive coordinators are going to move the pocket. So you want a quarterback with some wheels. And I think that's where Malik Willis is shining at because he's a big, strong, built dude who has a gun and he's mobile. I mean, the day of the slow drop back passer is pretty much done. I mean, I think like we're talking about the first 3 picks of this draft being freakish athletes who are defensive linemen. And these dudes is all coming up. Now, don't get me wrong, offensive linemen, we just talked about the big boy at Alabama, but by and large, the athletes that's coming out on defense now, it's not going to be beneficial for you to just try to drop back. You know what I mean? And just have that old Marino, those old slow white quarterbacks with braces on both knees and shit.
Right.
Trying to run.
That's like quarterbacks can't, they used to teach quarterbacks to do like 5-step to 7-step drops when they want to go deep with the ball. Can't do that anymore.
You can still
drop back there 5 steps deep. They at your ass.
You got to come out. If you're going to
come out.
I think now in order to kind of offset that, and this is like football strategy. So if y'all listening, y'all want to be offensive coaches. That's why now you have like teams that run out of the shotgun or they run out of the pistol because he's already back there 4 or 5 yards. So then he can do a 7-yard, a 7-step drop, and he'll have the time to get it off because he's already halfway back there, as opposed to dropping back from center, like you talking about with that old school. No, that's
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They can't do that anymore.
No,
I'm on the same page with you. That's what I'm saying. They can't do that anymore. That 5-7-step drop, that's too much time for defensive end or defensive tackle to get to him. Now the offenses are quick hitting offenses. The quarterback doesn't want to hold on to the ball too long. He wants to get that ball out of there. He wants it to be hot in these RPO offenses. So you can't do those type of drop backs. The only way to really negate the speed of the defense is, like you said, put them in a shotgun or put it in a pistol, to where you got to make those defensive players think, and that's where they fuck up at.
Also, too, you got to understand most teams in the NFL are running a 3-4 with a bunch of hybrid athletes. So the same dude that's rushing off the edge, it runs a 4-4. He gonna drop and cover tight ends and backs out the backfield too. And they got disguised blitzes and crazy coverages. It's a whole different level. So The game, yeah, the game has changed, and that's why you see like an athlete like a Malik Willis in predicted to be a top pick. The
Wow.
Falcons pick at 8, and they want to take Garrett Wilson from a wide receiver from Ohio State. Man, yes, like Garrett Wilson. First of all, Ohio State, and Ohio State is in a northern program. They're not SEC, but now you're talking about a team that stays with like premium blue chip 5-star talent.
Right.
So over the past few years, their wide receivers have been setting the world on fire. He's the latest one. He was good, but I liked Olave a little bit more.
I was just about to ask you about that. He's preferred over Olave.
He technically had better numbers. He was more of the go-to guy. Olave was just big play, right? Like he was like, but he this and Garrett Wilson's just a burner. Like that's what I'm saying. Like Ohio State, man, their quarterback, who's the number 1 quarterback in the country and who's so heralded. To me, he got better over the stretch, but I feel like he's part of the reason why they could have been way more explosive. I think they could have gone a lot farther, but they went to the playoffs. So, I mean, so they always in the conversation. So, you got to love that program. But yeah, that's a good pick for the Falcons. The Falcons got rid of Matt Ryan, and so they've got they've gotten they're rebuilding. Right. So I would hope I don't know who they're going to bring in to be their quarterback. But you got Marcus Mariota from the Raiders.
They do.
But Marcus Mariota, really? Like, I don't know. Not really. I've never felt like he's never really had any real success. He was run out of Tennessee by Tannehill, and he just didn't live up to his hype, if you ask me. Shout out to MC Tone, who's in the chat room. Oh man, check this out. He said, "Is it too late for MC Tone to get drafted?" Yeah, brother, MC Tone. Yeah, it's too late for you, my man. It's too late for you. You can come on Outlaw Radio though and bug out with us, man. We got to talk anyways because I don't use Zoom. I know it used to be a problem with Zoom, so I don't use Zoom anymore. So we probably can get MC Tone back on. Let me see what we got at number 9. Oh yes, this is the cornerback from Cincinnati for the Seattle Seahawks, Sauce Gardner. Cincinnati was packed. They was stocked last year. They had a lot of good players. This kid was good too, and I liked him.
He was.
He played against the run too, so yeah, he was nice. He was a big play man. And that's a good pick for Seattle. But once again, we got a lot of change. Russell's gone. I don't know if DK Metcalf will be there. The Seahawks just been kind of leaking for a long time. So I don't know. Is it Pete Carroll? Is it time for him to go, or do they got to really draft up and just rebuild?
Well, Pete Carroll says he likes Drew Lock. So he's not worried about. He said he's not particularly worried about a quarterback too soon in the draft.
Yeah. I hear. Right.
I watched Drew Lock play a couple of games. I think for Denver, I watched a couple of series, man, and I wasn't impressed.
Yeah, Drew Lock hasn't impressed anyway. Is that his third team? I mean, he started out with the Broncos, didn't he? And then he kind of teetered out there. So yeah, man.
Was it the Broncos or Jacksonville?
I think he started. I'm pretty sure if we Google him, he started with the Broncos.
Broncos, okay. I just remember watching him, and that was probably his rookie year.
Yeah, he hasn't panned. But Pete Carroll is, he's been known to work quarterbacks, to be real good with quarterbacks. So we'll see. They let go of Bobby Wagner, and Seattle for a long time was identified by the Legion of Boom, and they had a really good defense front, and they had beast mode on offense, and they had good wide receivers. Russell was at the top of his game, but that little whole thing fell apart, and a lot of people talked about the next year when they went back to the Super Bowl, and instead of giving it to Marshawn on the 1, Carroll tries to throw it, and it gets picked, and the Patriots run it back. The Patriots stole some goddamn Super Bowls, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
Remember what they did to
the Falcons? I'm not even gonna say they got lucky. They stole
them. Man, yeah, I just thought about that. Like, whoa. Let's see at number 10, Derek Stingley Jr., who's a cornerback from LSU.
Whoa, really?
Yeah. But this is once again, this is a mock draft. And I don't think I don't think he'll go in the top 10.
I'm just is that the Daryl Stingley that played for was it the Raiders or the Patriots? The receiver that got paralyzed on the field.
That was actually his grandfather.
It's his grandfather. My
It was
bad.
his
Okay,
grandfather. Yes, it was his
grandfather.
grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah, so and he played for LSU, and I guess in 2019 they couldn't stop talking about like he was the best DB in America. He's been a little bit up and down since then, but he has like $1 million skill set. I don't
Right.
think he'll go in the top 10 though, because I know these picks that we just named won't go like this is the mock draft. This is a prediction. I don't think they'll go like this. Somebody gonna slip or slide to another team. You never know who's gonna trade. Someone still, if you got the Packers and the Saints and the Chiefs with 2 picks in the first 2 rounds each, somebody gonna trade something.
Right.
Somebody's going to trade something. So I don't think he'll go. We'll see. He's a good player, but he just, and then sometimes you get players whose game translate to the NFL better. So,
Right.
pro scheme because of their skill set, but also sometimes cats get beat up. You go out there, especially playing on the level they playing on. You go out there, you get enraptured or some entanglements in a
Right.
couple of fouls and come out with something and then you don't know after the season. They're like, you got to have surgery. Like, damn. So we don't know, but I mean, he'll be a top 20 pick. I don't know if it'll be 10 though. So that's
cool.
the top 10. That's the top 10. So I want to go to the Packers first pick because we know what the Packers need. We know the Packers need receivers. There's some talk about the Packers needing an offensive lineman, but I think the Packers would be stupid to not draft a receiver with this pick. It's too many receivers on the board that's talented.
That's right.
So they're saying that they're going to take the receiver out of Penn State, Jahan Dotson. So he's fast. He's a burner. He can run. But we talking about rookies. That the NFL has changed to the point too where that doesn't really matter either. You look at a Justin Jefferson or you look at my man in Cincinnati. Those dudes came out right. They came out off top killing. And so
right.
You don't know. It depends on, how you never know. Because the one thing you can't measure with all these draft tangibles is heart. Or you don't know if somebody's gonna get hurt or what. So we'll see. He's a good player. I've seen him play. I watched Penn State. I watched Penn State last year.
Cold weather player.
Yeah,
cold so weather. He'll be able to, hopefully he'll be able to handle these Wisconsin weathers. This Wisconsin weather. I was hoping to hear another name, man. I don't know exactly who, but I'm not familiar with that kid as much. Yeah, man. There's got to be some other.
Penn State was a good team. They had a good offense, and he was the big play guy. He was. When you watched any highlights this year, most of them was him on offense. He's nice, super fast kid with hands. And like you said, cold weather player. His ass played in Pennsylvania. He can survive a Wisconsin winter.
Penn State usually get their hands on some good receivers from time to time.
Penn State is another premium program that's gonna always keep some 5 stars in up in the joint. Okay, so we move to the next pick for the Packers is 28. They're saying at this point they're gonna take Kenyon Green, who is a guard from Texas A&M. We don't know how Bakhtiari will recover. They let go of I forget the one offensive line, Billy. What was his name? I should know this. They let him go. Jenkins. Was that his name?
Eldgerton.
Something like that.
Eldgerton.
Yeah.
Jenkins.
Yeah, Paddington Bear or some shit. His name. They let him go with Za'Darius, right? So, and he was one of their better players. You know what I'm saying? It was a Billy Turner who they let go.
It had to be Billy Turner because I think they're trying to bring Eldgerton back.
Okay, because he was the one who they were saying was going to be like Hall of Fame, right? But he got hurt, and Bakhtiari got hurt. So they're saying I don't like that pick though. You know what I mean? I feel like the Packers have shown that their system and their offensive line coach, he's been top notch in making the offense. You know, you get some good offensive linemen, but I
Right.
think right there you got to go on the edge because you
I
did let
would.
Darius walk. So I think right there you got to go on and get an edge rusher. That would be what I would want for the Packers right there.
Yeah, I would. As far as the offensive lineman is concerned, I would look for that in free agency, man, or maybe think about making a trade for a guy, an experienced guy, a veteran. I want a veteran on the O line protecting Aaron Rodgers. I don't want a rookie. You know what I'm saying? I want a guy that's been in the trenches. You know, familiar with the play, familiar with the system we're running, and we can go from there. We need skill players. You know what I'm saying? To the draft, skill players are the premium, especially at wideout. Let's get our wideouts this year now. Let's get our good wideouts this year now because Rodgers don't have too much time left. He you can't expect him to develop talent at this point in his career. He needs guys that we can plug right away so we can go out here and get this ship. And for the right trade, I let one of those number ones pick go. I would let one of those picks go.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's a couple different ways you can approach it, and I would agree with you on. Yes, Aaron Rodgers he's long in the tooth, right? And I really just in terms of his mentality, I don't think he really feels like I feel like babysitting some young ass hotshot right now. Like, but there's only a select few free agents out there. You know, that's left, right? And
Right,
and sometimes with wide receivers is buyer beware because you can get that receiver after he's, you know, there's people got to understand is the rookie contract and then there's the next contract. And if you around long enough to get that third one, right? Like you usually a little bit older, but you teams let you go because you're slowing down a bit. You like I feel like this. The one thing about Devontae Adams is I think physically Devontae Adams was at his peak, right? So I
right,
think at this point it starts to go down a little bit in terms of his skills, his physical health. So that's one thing about why the Packers I feel like they didn't have a problem with letting him go because it was like, okay, well, how long will a receiver last anyways? You ain't gonna get 17 out of him like you didn't have from Aaron Rodgers, right? So, but there's also that was just one mock draft. Here's another one that says at number 22 that they'll take Drake London, who's a wide receiver who's 6'4", 219 pounds. Um, he is nice too. He is very nice. He's a faster, quicker Devontae in terms of where they're at in right at that point. Not now, obviously, but he's 6'4", 219 pounds, and he has speed. Devontae Adams to me never had top-notch speed. To me, he had
no.
superior quickness and he could run, but he didn't. He wasn't a burner.
Great route runner.
Right.
Great route runner.
The one of the best ever.
Man.
break you down with his feet.
Could cut off a dime.
Man.
Great footwork.
Man, you're gonna make these people listen and say, damn, we missed Devontae. Right. Gotta move
Shit,
on.
I miss him already. I miss him already.
MC Tone said he'll play, but I can't. He said he can't mess his perm up. Yeah, you can't put no helmet on, Playboy. MC Tone can't put no. He can't put. No, he don't want to mess up his poem. MC Tone.
Hey, you gotta get you a shower cap.
Right. I had to give him the OG
We gotta
7.
get you a shower cap, Tom. We gotta get you a shower cap, dude.
Get him a headband and shit like
Shit,
Peyton.
back here, hook you up.
Remember Peyton had a curl and he had the kangaroo headband. We give MC Thon one of them big ass headbands, one Soldier Boy headbands. Let's see what else the Packers got coming up in the second round. And these are, like I said, these are just projections. People who saying I don't know what they're gonna do in this draft because they got these picks. So let me find their other second round pick. And the Packers don't have like top 10 picks. They got two. It's just a lot of talent out here. So at number 53, they're saying there's the Packers would draft Arnold Ebikete. He's African, so if y'all think of Ebikete, I'm gonna say Ebikete. It's it's a lot of it's way more Africans playing now in the NFL than there ever was. It's crazy. He's 6'2", 250. He's an edge rusher. And they're saying he's a pretty good pass rusher. So those are their
What college you go to?
He goes to Penn State. He's at Penn
Penn
State.
State. Okay.
Yeah. So we'll see, man. It's all speculation. We don't know. I watch a lot of football, the little show, the NFL live joints. And it could be, you never know how the draft is gonna go because you got so many teams with so many picks and so many teams that have needs that are trying to plug those needs that you never know what the movement is gonna be. And there's still trades and free agents left. So we'll see. Like I said, I think their first two picks, the first one should be a receiver, and the second one should be an edge rusher. And then I feel like you need to get the old lineman, and then you just kind of plug receiver again, defensive player, receiver, because they're saying there's a tight end too out there and there's a wide receiver and actually the wide receiver from North Dakota is the one who I think the Packers are covered in right now. I gotta get it. He wasn't even on there. I had to pull this information up, but he's a pretty skilled kid. He's a pretty skilled kid. But taking a kid out of I don't want to say school matters because Devontae Adams went to Fresno State. And North Dakota is like the most dominant football program ever. I don't care on any level. Like, what if they won like 5 out of the last 7 national titles? And they already, when they was Division II back in the days when I was in school, they had 3 or 4 national titles then. So they have to have over 10 national titles. And this is just football. It's just football. So, yeah.
Whoa.
I've been to Fargo. Fargo. It
seems like the Packers got a relationship with them because they always got somebody on their roster from NDS.
Well, no, I mean, you think about it. They've been spitting out Carson Wentz, Lance, who plays for the 49ers. They've been spitting out pro players for a long time, man. I remember back in the day, Phil Hansen from the Buffalo Bills went to NDSU, and they was Division II then. And the
Packers usually have they usually either draft or will invite an NDS player to come on for camp. I remember not even but 2 years ago they just had their running back in camp.
Yeah.
Good dude, man. He just he didn't pan out, but shit, he did his job. He did his job at NDS.
Yeah. NDSU was a beast, man. At that school, and they even when they were Division II, it wasn't even fair. Like they had a whole dome with what I'm saying. I played Division II football, so it was like most of the schools you played, there were some top tier D2s that had nice fields and stadiums, but nobody had a dome like that except for them. Well, I take that back because at that time, that entire conference, South Dakota or USD has always had a dome. So I played in that dome, and they, but it just, like I said, NDSU was on a whole other level. So yeah, they've been spitting out players, pro players for a long time. Even though Carson Wentz ain't having the best movement now. I mean, his career is now kind of, but he was a high draft pick. He got kind of crossed up in Philly, man. He got beat up and crossed up. So, and I feel like they did it wrong with the Colts last year. I feel like they did him wrong, man. I feel like they did him wrong. Y'all check out my Outlaw Radio hoodie. We're trying to bring these back. We're gonna get these T-shirts, get the sports show. We're gonna get all the apparel popping again, man. It is the Big Black Sports Show, man, on a Tuesday night, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Hit like, hit share, hit follow. I'm not pretending to be Howard Cosell or this ain't Sports Center. This is just a bunch of brothers sitting around talking shit about sports. So if you know something on here more so than me, please enlighten me. If you say you don't know what he's talking about, enlighten me. Hit us up. The phone number is 262-202-5131. We got a chat room that's popping. Shout out to MC Tone. You're trying to find him a wave cap that can fit under his football helmet. MC Tone be having on the Prince joints with the ruffles on him. I see him showing up. I would love to see MC Tone walking in before the game, right? And see what a green and gold fit with some silk ruffles and shit. MC Tone don't be playing, man. Man. But you know what? This is coming up on, and I had this scheduled for last, but okay, so I wait on that because I think this is kind of connected to that. Colin Kaepernick, all right. So he worked out. He was at the University of Michigan because the coach was his coach at San Francisco, right? Like, so he brought him out there, and he was throwing the ball to the receivers. He was working out. He was saying and it's been 5 years since he's played, but he was saying to the scouts, like, man, just bring me in camp. I'll do the rest. And I think it's a shame that the NFL, to me, they can't put their hands on no social responsibility campaigns and all this. I know, and that's how you can tell that woke shit is fake shit, and all that Black Lives Matter, their versions of it and how they kind of go about it is all bullshit. They don't care about black people at all. They can give a fuck about, because to them what they pay those players is pennies on the dime of what they make, right? So don't get me started talking about the Billionaire Boys Club NFL owners. Them motherfuckers is some of the most worst motherfuckers in sports, okay? But the fact that Colin Kaepernick is not allowed to play, and I connected that, and this is where my connection with what I was saying is, because I was just going to talk about the 75th anniversary coming up of Jackie Robinson integrating baseball, right? So we're talking about a time when we have this milestone in history where, and I question this too. I've always questioned, why was it so important for him to play in the majors instead of the Negro leagues just doing what they was doing and coming up even, and so it's a long conversation, right? But I'm just saying, but it's 75 years later and you still have a black man who's not allowed, who's been admittedly shut out of the league. I mean, he found them guilty of collusion, intentionally shut out of his livelihood and what he wants to do simply because he took a stand about social injustice, because that's what it was about. Some people say he just used front for the camera, and I've heard Marcellus Wiley talk all this kind of shit about dude. And the fact of the matter is, the man took a stand about something, and the thing he took a stand about, when we're talking about police murders and all these kinds of egregious acts that's put on the backs of black people by law enforcement officers. How many times did George Floyd? All this shit happens after Colin Kaepernick. It all just fortified and solidified which we knew was the truth in the first place, right? So this whole thing, this whole exclusion from football is based on race and racism and racist owners. That's what this shit's about. So it will be, after 5 years of being out the league, I don't know if he still could play, but I think he damn sure deserves a shot. And I feel like because see, I can't really support. I'm gonna tell you this. I'm a football fanatic, right? Like when I was younger, everything NFL did, I was with the shits, right? Like, so I'm watching all morning. I watch every team. I watch every game. Bought apparel. I don't do none of that shit no more. I only watch the Packer game because I can't really put my whole weight behind the NFL and these racist ass owners. So the fact that this brother is even coming off this offseason where we've seen so much bullshit centered around minority hiring and the lack of diversity and all this kind of stuff. And on top of all that, y'all still won't let this brother play football. It ain't be too much of a distraction. No more of a distraction than a Baker Mayfield who's talking shit and crying. And I like Baker Mayfield, who's talking shit after the game when he win, crying when he lose, commercial after commercial. We got $1 million goddamn commercials and $200,000 resume. I take $200,000 resume. I'm just saying for him, it's small change. Right? So once again, I feel like any NFL owner who wants to say, I'm about to rewrite the narrative of what we've been doing up to this point, because what you've actually been doing for a very long time is human trafficking, right? I'm gonna take the sex out of it. Because that's a show in itself. It's human trafficking. You buy, market, and sell people, stock like cows. You endeavor on. It's almost like a gamble for y'all. I'm gonna put together my team. You put together yours. We'll see who win. It's a little pot. And it's the biggest goddamn swindle ever, but it's centered around something that a lot of people are very passionate about, which is the game of football. But you motherfuckers have been the most racist, and the fact that even just judging by the fact that the players in the NFL don't even get guaranteed money. You know how dirty the NFL is, and this is why I wasn't mad at Devontae Adams or even Aaron Rodgers. People talking all that shit about Aaron Rodgers. Hey, he took all the money, he couldn't shine nobody. Listen. You get what you can off the NFL while you can, because they have absolutely no loyalty to anybody. They will trade, always do a roster bonus in the spring. They will cut your ass. It's not easy, right? So these owners are some fucking pirates. So Colin Kaepernick should be signed to a team and given a real shot to play. I've heard people say he wasn't that good. Okay, well, let the motherfucker prove it, because you go sign all these bums out of the grocery store and out of Walmart. He was out of football for 3 years, and then one day I got a call from my college coach, who's not offensive coordinator. Now Bobby Shimilewski is back in the league and shit. Garbage. He's garbage. You know what I mean? You got
Well,
a bunch of bums and scrubs holding clipboards all around the NFL. You tell me Colin Kaepernick can't hold one? Stop it, man. Stop it. Go ahead, brother.
well, I would love to see him back in the league, but I would also I also would like to know exactly what is he thinking and what he wants, because like you said, 5 years out of the NFL is a very long time. It's a very long time, and especially for the position that he plays. Um, the type of quarterback that he was, a very athletic guy. Does he still have those skills? You know what I'm saying? Because because now it's 5 years is a long time. And NFL coaches now, they're looking at you like, can you even play anymore now? And one of the reasons that I'm pretty sure he was allowed to have that demonstration was to show, yeah, I can still throw. But here's the thing, man. Yeah, you still got the arm, but can you do it in game time? Can you do it when bullets are flying? Can you still do it when bullets are flying? I, you know, I support Colin Kaepernick. Love dude. I love what he stood for. But me personally, I think it may be time to give up wanting to play in the NFL. I think that you can continue to do great work being an advocate for your people, an advocate for black athletes. But as far as playing at that high of a level, especially considering yourself to try to be a starter, and you've been out of the league for 5 years, I think it's kind of pushing it.
Okay. I disagree. I disagree because I think, first of all, Tom Brady is 170,000 years old and he's still playing. Okay. And you
True.
say, well, he never missed a season. Well, there's cats who've been backups. He hasn't played, so he hasn't been hit. Right. And according to all the reports that I've seen, he stayed in shape, stayed training. I know it's not football shape or whatever, what have you, but I'm saying he hasn't been touched. And he wasn't an old man when he was done. Had he not been shafted, what he'd be in like year 12 right now or something like that. So I'm saying is I think there he was young enough when they took it from him that now he could come back and play. At what level? I think I agree with you on that. I don't know what level, but one thing about this is I love everything you said. First of all, that was the shit. Shout out to you.
Finally.
Yeah, that shit don't happen. That shit don't happen often. Oh no. Okay. So I agree with what you said, especially about the advocacy part. I think he's made himself actually, and this may be now that you say that, I'm starting to process it. I think he's made himself bigger than football because what he stood for is bigger than football. Like Tom Brady has a million rings, and he's going to be considered for the most accomplished. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback. I think he's the most accomplished quarterback of all
Right.
time. But when 20 years down the line, we'll say, man, you won a lot of Super Bowls, and it's like, wow. And you never know. Somebody may come along and break that shit one day. You don't know.
Right.
Um, but Colin Kaepernick will be remembered in a different vein. He'll be remembered as somebody who, like a social justice and icon for all intents and purposes. Some people might say, "No, he's not no icon," but he actually is because the brother
Yes.
put it on the line and had the nerve to put it on the line way, way, way stronger than any brother ever had in the league. It's been some brothers who stood up to the league and all that, but they ain't said, "Nah, I put the whole thing on this." So,
Right.
and I don't think he'll ever miss a meal. But one thing I'm saying is he deserves a chance. For somebody not to even call him into camp and say, okay, motherfucker, you want to play? Get your ass out there and let him go out there in the preseason. And we'd be like, ooh, shit. No, Colin, no, man. And it's some rapper somewhere doing a press conference. You need to go, So I just think he deserves a chance. I think the NFL, the fact that he hasn't gotten a chance shows how truly racist and just corrupt the NFL is.
I
And
agree
y'all
with that.
dirty motherfuckers
Yes.
turn around and let players wear social justice slogans on their cleats sometimes. Ain't that the most slavish shit that y'all niggas can wear some shit on your shoes today and niggas be there, I got specialized cleats today. Like, I mean,
Right.
I don't want to demean these brothers, right? But I'm saying the way the NFL operates for me is I've always had a problem with the way these white men just kind of play the puppet master with brothers, and it's mostly brothers. There's some white dudes
Right.
too, but I always keep telling y'all, I'm not really worried about the white community. I'm so
Right.
concerned about the black community,
Well,
right? So I'm too busy
you know,
being.
the players too, they got to step up, man, and say enough is enough. You
They
know,
do.
these fucking phrases in our on the back of our jerseys is not enough. Change some policies. Change some policies, damn it. Get some black owners in. Get more black coaches in. Do what you say you're going to do instead of just saying this shit and not acting. And here we are. You know what I'm
Um,
saying?
you know what's funny? First of all, shout out to MC Tone. He said I'll park my caddy and hold a clipboard, but you know my uniform. I gotta have ruffles. I gotta get MC Tone. But the last time MC Tone came on Outlaw Radio, he had a ball of dime and he had the Prince Purple Rain joint, the white cigarette. Like it was, but not on some shit like on some real like wrong type shit, like on some shout out to MC Tone, man. Y'all. MC Tone,
Yeah.
too. Y'all can't tell me, man. The people who come on this show on the People's Network, they blow up Shaway. Not because of my show, but it's I guess we just attract, successful people. You look at Antonia Anderson, you look at MC Tone, you look at Courtney, you look at Kamar, you look at all these individuals who come through here and be up and through here, and they do big things. They doing big things on the side while they do it. So MC Tone hosting everything right now. That brother got an OMT award. He's a yeah, right. So yeah, man. Like I was saying, man. I think Colin Kaepernick he should get it. He should get another shot. But I think too, if you check the real politics of the situation, if you look at a lot of those owners, they were heavy supporters and endorsers of Donald Trump. So a lot of them have conservative Republican interests. And I know I'm the party pooper on Outlaw Radio. We don't believe in either party because they both been egregious in their treatment of us.
Right.
But it says something about anybody who was a Trumper, who subscribed to those politics. It says a whole lot. And you say, no, Trump, you seen those white people at the Capitol. Stop it. That should have deaded all conversations from any black people saying, he all right. But then some black people say, why do I give a fuck about the Capitol anyway? And why do I give a fuck about all those people? Because they wasn't brothers and sisters.
True.
There's only a couple of them, right? But I mean, my point is, when you hear somebody's a Trumper, usually if it's an old white dude, you know what he feels, right? Like, so Herschel Walker, who is one of those McNegroes as well, these nuts, who's made all kinds of stupid comments about black, and made all these conservative statements, and he's running for office down in Georgia. He finally admitted that he's lied about his college education. And because for years he's been saying he graduated from Georgia with top honors and all this shit, but they finally boxed him in like, Herschel, you got your transcripts, bro. You ain't graduate. You dropped out and went pro. As he finally admitted, lying ass. I mean, this is Trump. Most Trump people are delusional, right? Like they have a different kind of version of truth and reality than everybody else. So that's what fuck Herschel Walker. I don't like that dude. I've never liked Herschel Walker. I can't stand it's okay for me if you want to be a black Republican, but when you get when you drink that Kool-Aid and start regurgitating all the conservative bullshit that they say, I got to walk off on you, player.
And Herschel, he wasn't a great NFL player anyway.
Herschel Walker was a good player, but he didn't live. He could have been
college, not pros. He had two or three good NFL years. He was an injury-prone running back.
He had
one good season in Minnesota.
Well, he had some good years with the Cowboys. He had one good season in Minnesota. He had a couple good ones with the Eagles too. At one point, he was a phenomenal athlete. He's just an idiot, right? Like he was, but you're right. He wasn't. He was more
like one of the top guys. But his college career was so great, though, man. He had a really good college career.
He was a shit at Georgia. He was a shit, and once again, he was a good NFL running back when he was healthy. Minnesota was a bad situation for him, and that just fell apart. But like you say, he did have one good season. I think in Dallas he may have had 2 or 3 though. We have to check his stats, but he wasn't Barry Sanders. He wasn't. He wasn't.
He didn't have a long career, a long storied career.
Yeah, he was in the NFL a long time because he always kept himself in shape. He's a fitness buff, but as far as a politician goes,
These nuts.
he can go ahead and miss me with that conservative bullshit. Byron Allen. I'm still waiting to see if Byron Allen's going to be allowed to buy the Broncos. We don't know yet, so I'm still waiting on that because once again, the NFL, shame on them. No black owners, all this kind of. It's just too much. It's too much, man. I can't.
It's time, man.
And when we talk about Jackie Robinson later, I'm gonna try to weigh this out in terms of our economic viability when it comes to professional sports, and not just sports, but all these industries. I'm gonna get to that. Give me time. I mean, as far as football goes, I think that's what's going on. I know they want to put tag football in the Olympics, right? Okay, whatever. I don't know. You put I said tag flag football. Flag.
You might as well put 7-on-7 in football then. Might as well put 7 versus 7 in the Olympics if that's the case.
All right. When you remove the physicality, it takes away from the game. That's one of the things that people love about the game the most. The physical demands because of the physicality
Man,
it requires. It's one of the things that people love about it the most. It's like boxing.
To me, man, the only purpose it serves, man, is to give skilled players like receivers and DBs work.
Right.
It's just like another component of practice. I'm tripping off of how popular this shit is getting because when I lived in California, 7 versus 7 summer leagues were popular. They were popular because it was a part of football. It was looked at as a part of football as a whole. But now what I'm seeing, man, it's like these leagues are becoming like something within themselves. It's like the other part of football don't even matter. Like some kids don't even play standard football. They play 7 versus 7.
Right. Yeah.
And that's it.
I know.
I'm like, you're really not getting the full experience of this. This
Right.
is not the full experience of football. And I got a lot of guys like, you need to coach me, you need to coach me. Like, that shit seems boring. So
I mean, it can get intense in terms of watching, young athletes compete, but I totally agree with you. Football is football, right? And any variation of it is not football, right? Like, so if you ain't got 11 on each side and you ain't got all the positions going at it, doing what you take a whole element, remove a whole element of the game from it. So I do agree with you. Now, if you got kids who want to play 7-on-7, it's good for skills training. Like you said, just it was a part of practice where you say, okay, they're doing 7-on-7 down at the other end of the field, just like linemen and linebackers do inside 7, or run fits or one-on-one pass rush against the old lineman. You do those drills down on your end, but
Right.
all of it comes together to make the game. So, but I mean, like you said, it's a lot of parents who rather play it safe and their kids play 7-on-7. They don't play at their school. I don't know what your long-term vision is for the game. I don't, but some
Right.
people might not want to, you know what I mean, be in it like that. But once again, though, I mean, that's not something I'd ever really be interested in. Like my son played organized with a helmet from age 5. And it was just about me being a parent, being there to make sure he wasn't put in a dangerous situation, to make sure he was okay. I never made him play when he was hurt. Now, I've seen him get dotted, and I've told him on the sideline, you good, man. You just got to get back out there. And, but he wasn't hurt like that. Now, if he'd have been really hurt, I'd have been like, nah, bro.
Right.
And that's enough for you. So that's why I was there in the first place. So, I just think it's all about how you manage it. So, football is a dangerous game. I'm not going, I'd be lying. I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you that I've seen some cats, they first hit was their last hit. The first hit they took, right? First play of the game, right? Like making the most beautiful play in the world that they ever made. Or I've seen some dudes get hit and walk off the field. I've seen a lot of basketball players come out and say, I'm just going to play receiver. And the first time they cross the middle and get dotted, they go, shit, here, where do I put this helmet at? Because not for, you say everything ain't for everybody, man. It's not for everybody. I say this all the time. Football players are born. I think pretty much other sport you're made, right? Like, so I just, because you could be 6'5", 350 pounds, run like a deer and jump out the gym, but if it ain't in you, you won't be a good football player, right? Like it's something about football players, it's in them, right? Like people say basketball the same way. I don't believe it is. I think with basketball, it's a different kind of dedication. But I don't. But I think if you really work hard with the right people with basketball, you can develop a skill set that can, like Eastern Europeans. They're nowhere near as athletic as most of the black kids that's playing in the inner city are, but they learn those fundamentals of shooting and
Yep.
learn how to move. I move efficiently. I don't waste, because I'm not fast. I ain't quick, so I have to know this game. I have to know how to run sets and half court offense and defense. So yeah, I think football is more of a game where you're made to play it. Like it chooses you, right? Like
Yeah, I agree.
it chooses you. Show your book, man. Since we on the topic, since we talking about what for you.
Fullback.
All right.
Every time I pull this book up, my screen clears. Man,
it goes right when as soon as you pull the book out. As soon as you pull the book,
pull it out.
I seen you on Amazon, man. Tell these people how to get your book. I seen you all up on Amazon with the joint. Tell these people how they can get the book, man.
Oh yeah, so hey, go to Amazon. It's on Amazon and it's on Lulu. It's also available in ebook. The book is called Fullback. This is a great book, y'all. This is about my journey through football, through high school, through some of my trials and tribulations trying to play. So it's a really good book, really good life story. I recommend it. Hey, go get it.
That's right.
It. Fullback by Larry Tank Purdue.
Support that brother, man. Support that brother.
Appreciate it.
Man, ain't no thing. That book got magical powers because as soon as you put it down, you went back red.
Right, man.
Crazy.
Man.
Okay, so let's get to some basketball stuff. Okay. It's about to be, the playoffs are about to start. Now we're about to find out what's what, right? In terms of the NBA season is long as hell. But you get to the end of the year and you start to find out what's what. Now I'm surprised because now I don't know. Now I have to double check this. Let me see what the Bucks did tonight. Because realistically, the Bucks have been dropping, and I don't know if people been paying attention to this. The Bucks they've lost 3 in a row. They kicking the shit out the Bulls right now. 74-56. It is the third quarter. Okay. They have to win this game because they've been slipping. But I've been seeing all these analysts talking about the Bucks have the equipment to repeat and go back to the finals and maybe even win it again. I want to talk about this because I don't see them now. Like I feel like the NBA is too stacked. Well, Tiasha Arthur, hold on, I gotta shout out my chat room. She said false. If you're not into basketball now, how much training you give a person, they will still suck. You know what? Well, yeah, if they're not interested in it. But I'm saying if there's a person who may not have skills, but they love it, because you're gonna have to be dedicated to it no matter what. So if it's a person who said, man, I'm not that good, but I really love to play, if they work hard enough with trainers and they're dedicated, they can become a good basketball player. Football, I just feel like it's either in you, it gotta be in you, it can't be on you. That's just my opinion, Tiarsha. That's just my opinion. She said that's false. That's why I love my word gang, man, my information gang. My word mob affiliates, man. They always gonna keep it a buck with your boy. Let me know what y'all think. If y'all, we had Freddie Riley on here, so obviously we have some hoop fans who listen to the show. MC Tone said he's just a player, period. He said he went from playing football to playing the women, right? Like, hey, smooth transition, right? What's happening, girl? Right? Yeah. So I want to talk about the Bucks now. The East is stacked. The West is the West is ridiculous. First of all, I don't believe anybody will beat the Phoenix Suns unless some injuries occur.
Right.
Phoenix Suns will run through everybody in this. Man, people talk about Brooklyn, No. People talk about Golden State. No. Golden State's good. I even like Minnesota.
I like Minnesota too.
Dallas too just came and whooped the Bucks' ass. The West is stacked. They got some good teams, but the Phoenix Suns at this point is just on another level.
Man, they top notch right now. They're the kings of the power right now. I'm coming out of the East though. I do like our chances. I don't, I've watched this play. The top 5 teams, throughout the year, and no one really worries me. Philly doesn't worry me. You know what Brooklyn isn't Brooklyn trying to who's
Yeah, but
who's who's competing for the play-in game in the East?
well, I mean, you looking at Cleveland, you looking at Brooklyn. Brooklyn is a sleeping giant. The Brooklyn had a lot of issues with KD and Kyrie being out for a while, and then the Harden thing didn't work out. They're not going to get anything out of the Ben Simmons joint. That's
No,
already a faux pas.
no,
Uh, but this team, KD is one of the he's one of the greatest basketball players to ever do it, right? Like, so this dude, but he's one player and he's not a
right,
defensive dude. And Kyrie is one of the best point guards you've ever seen. But I need to see the consistency. I don't know about. I mean, listen, Kyrie is a flighty dude. I'm not gonna say he's crazy. He's a little eccentric to me, and
right.
so you never know where that falls. Now, but Kyrie has a ring, and he in the playoffs. One thing you can say about that boy is he goes hard when he's on the floor, right?
Yeah, he
Right.
does.
So I don't know. Brooklyn in that play-in, you got Atlanta in the mix in the East. You
I
know,
think Brooklyn has a team that they'll pop a few teams. I think they can actually coming in through the playing game. They can actually take a series or two, you know, going forward.
yeah.
But they're too they're too low of a seed to really be a bother to really be a threat to the Bucks.
No, all they got to do is win a series or two, and then I mean, you ain't playing forever. So all they got
Right.
to do is really win the first series or the first two series, and they in the mix, right? But that's a lot of. I get what you're saying.
Well,
That's a lot of
okay.
game.
One thing I'll say is this though. I'll say this. I wouldn't want to see the Nets in the first round because I
Right.
think they have the team that'll pop somebody in that first round. So I wouldn't want to see them in the first round. But later on in the playoffs, yeah, serve their asses up.
Okay. Okay. I get what you're saying. Let them get a little woe down first before they.
Right, because KD, because right now, hey, shit. And if KD isn't hurt, it's a wrap.
Right. Right.
He cracked that pinky finger on that shooting hand, it's a wrap.
Yeah. I mean, cross not that we would want that to happen. Knock on wood.
Right,
No,
right, right.
it's sports. Tiasha Arthur, she said, let me read her comment. She said, I was a basketball player, track team, and volleyball player. I used to be super athletic, then I had kids.
Are you still athletic, man? You got kids.
No, you ain't athletic. She said kids plural with an S. No, it's cool, right? No, you know what? I once again, being an athlete and being a football player are two different things. And you might say I'm biased because I was a football player for so long, okay, and all through high school and college, right? And so, but I just feel like I've seen some dudes who played my same position who were better athletes or were stronger or bigger or faster, and none of them could take my spot because I had more heart and it was more in me. It was more in me than them. So they backed me up. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, it's cool. Hey, man, I was third in the state, in the region. Yeah, well, now your ass is third on the depth chart. Who the fuck out? So, and my stats and all that in college will show that. So but I wasn't the superior athlete. I wasn't the freak athlete like that. You know what I mean? I was a
Right.
pretty good athlete to be a big dude, but it was just in me because I was a thumper. It wasn't it's just something that other players just didn't have. You know what I mean? It's just a level of physicality that maybe a bigger, stronger. I mean, I remember I went to Eastern Illinois. You talking about offensive lineman that's 6'5", 6'6", 330 pounds, 40 pounds. I was folding them up. Well, no big
Right.
deal. I mean, it's just Tuesday, right? So that's why I say football players are more made. Like it's something about those great for the best football players you've ever been on if you played and you've been on a team with a great player. It was something different about him. He was just different. The way he went about it, the way he moved. Not that I'm watching him or nothing, but I'm talking about it within his position. Maybe the way he ran his routes, how he used his hands, how he got off blocks. He had like a real kind of innate ability to do it. That's all I mean. She said, yes, Kevin, you definitely are biased. Let me give myself one.
These nuts.
Okay, I'm biased. I'm a football player. What can I say? What can I say? What can I say? MC Tone said when he was playing football, dude hit me so hard he said he knocked a curl out his hair. Right. That's some shit that I would have done back in the day. So hit you so hard I knocked a curl out your head, right? But so yeah,
Oh,
man.
man.
I don't know. Giannis, oh my goodness, what can you say about Giannis? Like to me, Giannis is the second best player in the NBA. I think LeBron is the best player, but I think Giannis is the second best. And I put Durant after him because to me, Durant doesn't have the defensive capabilities that Giannis has.
Right.
So KD is probably the best shooter that I've seen. And I'm not, basketball guru, but I watch enough of it to see how skilled that dude is. But
I agree. He's the best shooter. He's the best shooter in the league.
Yeah, he'll knock that thing down on you. 2, 3, 4, 5 people in his face. All in your face. So yeah, but we'll see. Like I said, it's gonna be interesting. If like they're saying, because I'm watching Sports Center and they're saying like the Bucks are the most complete team in the East because Miami is inconsistent and Miami has some deficiencies in some areas. Chicago melted. Philly, I still Embiid, y'all. They still a player away. Harden ain't. At this point in Harden's career, he's more like a Cutlass Supreme than a Cadillac. And not that a Cutlass Supreme was a bad car, but it just wasn't no Fleetwood, right? Like, so that's a nice Cutlass. Damn, look at the Fleetwood. Like, it's just two different things, right? Harden is, and Harden is not, he's never really been a defensive dude either. I think the greatest thing about Harden is he's shown that he'll pass the ball, but he's hit them triple doubles. He was the triple double king. I just feel like he just hasn't, his presence on defense hasn't been what it should have been. So I feel like Philly is a player away. So I guess there is some room, but it's not a whole lot. Because to me, the best team in the East is the Celtics. And so they lost their big man, and they're saying that that's kind of weakened the Celtics a lot too.
Right.
Robert Harris, I think his name is, big boy. But I don't know. I feel like Boston is the best team in the East. And I don't think any team in the East can beat Phoenix in a 7-game series unless there's some significant injuries that happen that we can't foresee. I know Chris Paul is old too, and us old dudes tend to wake up one day in some sort. Oh man, I don't know what's wrong with my hip and shit. Oh no, man. No, bro.
They just blew us out. What, a week or two ago?
Yeah.
They just blew us out. They showed us what they are.
Now, the Bucks beat them earlier in the season. Oh, I know they beat the Warriors, and then the Warriors whooped them. The Mavericks just whooped them. The Bucks had lost. They lost to the Clippers because they rested everybody after they got that big victory against Brooklyn, and then they got whooped by the Mavericks. So if they'd have lost tonight, that would have been 3 games in a row. So they gotta have this win tonight. So I don't know, man. Man, I think the great thing is the Bucks are they're a contender. And they're in the conversation. They're only leading by 10 now with 2 minutes in the third quarter. So we'll see. A lot of basketball left to be.
Yeah.
So we'll see, man. They gotta have this. And then some people say it don't even matter because were they third place last year? I think they was actually third place last year in the division. They didn't win their division last year.
No, I think we were the first or the second seed.
Okay. Now, where were they? Okay, we'll see. I don't know. I have to go and check. I didn't
think they high seed.
I didn't think they won the East last year, but maybe they did. I thought Miami won the East last year. Or I don't know. I have to check. I don't know.
Yeah.
They weren't. I don't think they were the top seed. People say it don't matter. The playoffs is a different game. Everything goes up a level, and that's when the real players and when teams unleash everything and say, now we ain't no load management and none of that. And so, we'll see.
And like I said, the game slows down.
Okay.
The game slows down in playoffs. You have more half set offense going on, court set offense. So it slows down, and that's when a team like the Bucks have the advantage because they have long, tall, lanky shooters. Shooters. You know what I'm saying? And if we can get now Middleton he had a great playoff run
Him and
last year.
Holiday. Him
Him
and
and
Holiday.
Holiday. So they got to step up again, man, because especially Holiday. He's got to be consistent for us this year.
I think
Last year,
to me, the X factor is Lopez. I think you got to. I think Lopez has to shine, or I don't see the Bucks being able to do it because Lopez brings a part like the rim protection. He brings an aspect to them defensively that nobody else has. So, and I don't know. I don't. It doesn't even have to be him shooting threes and all of that. I think he just has to really be good in the post with rebounds and stuff like that. So, if Lopez is really full strength, then the Bucks will give somebody some problems. I ain't gonna. I will be honest about that. So we'll see, man. I'm gonna be sitting by. We're gonna have our popcorn, and once the playoffs start, I think it's important that you and I both go ahead and pick a team. Then
right? Let's do
you got to stick with your
that.
team, right? You got to stick with your team. So once we
Let's
see
do it.
after that first series, you say, okay, I'm riding with so and so and so. So we'll see.
Let's do it.
I say right now, if you would ask me, I say I think the Suns will be the champions this year, but we don't know. We don't know how this game goes. Let me see what else. What else? I mean, there's so many great players in the NBA right now. NBA, we talking about athletes.
Right.
The NBA is athletically, the NBA is on a whole other level than any other league. Goodness gracious, man. These dudes is you talking about 6'6" and 6'5" jumping 50-inch vertical like, and can shoot jumpers. It's more 7-footers that shoot jumpers now than ever. Like now, basketball has changed a lot.
Yes, it has.
Right. So
it has. It's wild. The speed of the game, the physicality of the game, not so much as physical. It's going to get more physical in the playoffs. But yeah, man, you got these guys 6'8", 6'9", like you say, 42, 44 inch, 45, 50-inch verticals and shit. And can shoot the three.
yeah, man. I was looking at the McDonald's All-American game, and I was just tripping off these kids, man. These kids just and that's the league for that's the draft in a couple years. Some of them in the next year. But these dudes, I'm like, dude, that dude is 17? What the hell is he eating? Like it's crazy, man. It's crazy. Like so, yeah, the NBA, man, they're athletically they on a whole other level right now. So, and that's what
I'm sorry, but let me give a shout out to Lyric Davis, the young Milwaukee product out of Tech basketball player. From what I understand, he showed his ass this weekend at the high school dunk contest. So we want to give you a shout, young man. Shout out to you. Anybody, if there's any Tech, any Tech alumni in the house, show your love for him.
No, I ain't gonna do that to him. And the brothers, he signed at Tennessee State. So congratulations to him and his family, man. Man, I don't know that young man. My son keep telling me, Dad, if you see him, you know him because we've been in the gym with him or whatever. But I don't know. It's so many kids. My son have played with so many damn kids over the years. I don't know them all. They always say, hey, I remember you and your dad. Dad, you remember him? No, I don't remember them. So yeah, shout out to him, man. Congratulations. I picked Kansas. You picked Kansas. Kansas came back from 16 down. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't really watch the game. I watched the highlights. The argument was it a case of the players or the coach that let North Carolina down? From what I seen, it was the players. They went cold. They missed shots. Just
they went cold.
Yeah. So people are saying Kansas will come back and win another one next year. So we'll see. Once again, Kansas is a team. When you got to understand college basketball is like college football, and you get these teams full of these blue chippers, these 5-star recruits, man, that are just phenoms at the sport, and then you have 7, 8 of them on the same team, right? Like so, you just running right. So yeah, these dudes it's crazy, man. The level of talent and athleticism that they have at the University of Kansas. But congratulations to them brothers, man. I hope them brothers can reap some of the benefits of it. I wanted to talk tonight. I started the show off by talking about Jackie Robinson, 75th anniversary of Jackie Robinson integrating baseball, which some people see as a great thing. Black people right now don't really play baseball like we used to. Shout out to all those kids in the Beckham Stapleton League and whatnot. But we don't really play baseball like we used to. Most of us are going football, basketball, track, and then into some different sports. But when I look back Jackie Robinson was a very successful member of the Negro Leagues, which at that time was the only place that black players could play. And from what I understand, there was some great teams and some great players who had numbers that eclipsed the numbers of the white Major League Baseball players. I've always stated that there should be an asterisk placed before any records that were set before Jackie Robinson was allowed in the league, because then you get an influx of black talent. So you get Satchel Paige and you get these guys who can, Willie Mays, and you get these great players who come in and change the game and revolutionize it. Hank Aaron, all these brothers who come in and really, really put it down. But baseball now is a league of mostly white dudes and Dominicans or Latinos. I shouldn't say Dominicans, of course, but Latinos, period. They're way more passionate about the game in Cuba and Puerto Rico and places like that, Mexico, than they are here in America, in our community. Now, white people, because one thing about baseball is the cost associated with it when the kids are young is very high. It costs some money to get all the equipment and to get the leagues and this kind of stuff. It costs some money. And in a lot of our communities, we just don't have those resources early on. So you have some black kids who play baseball, but it's not one of the sports that we, really go into now wholeheartedly. Because like I said, the best players, the best athletes are going to go baseball and basketball. And then there's track, and then there's everything else after that. Right? Tennis and stuff like that. And people say, oh, what about, I'm not saying there's not black kids playing all those sports. I'm just saying where the majority of them go. So when I look at Jackie Robinson and I'm saying, okay, he integrated the game, and he became one of the best players in Major League Baseball. So ultimately, he benefited Major League Baseball. And I'm saying, to me, we've always suffered side effects from integration. When we look at the black businesses in our community, at one point, the black economy was strong. Black entrepreneurship was the thing to do. We supported ourselves. We supported our own until they told us we can come and shop in their stores. Then all of a sudden, black business became bad. Then all of a sudden, it became hard to be a black entrepreneur. And so that's a side effect of integration. When we look at our community, when they wouldn't let us live anywhere else and we were forced to stay in neighborhoods where those were the only place we could live, there was a way stronger sense of community. I'm not saying there weren't issues in the community then, but I'm saying our sense of solidarity and our love for each other and the way we supported each other was entirely different until they said, y'all can come and live with us. Okay. We look at our school system. Yeah, some of the supplies and some of the resources weren't there. But when we talk about black educators being able to work with black kids and stress to them how important it was for them to get their shit so that they can kind of bubble up in society, our kids did a little bit better academically. Academics was important. Education was important. Until they said, y'all can come and go to school with us. Well, they got nicer books. They got nicer classrooms. They have nicer facilities. You see, in every one of these instances, we left what was ours and went to what was theirs because we felt like theirs was better instead of us making ours better. Okay. So if the Negro Leagues was looked at as being inferior to the white leagues, I feel like we should have wholeheartedly supported them more and made it to a point where the real World Series was the Negro League players playing against the Major League Baseball players. That's the real World Series. To me, that's what it should have been. We could have done that. But for some reason, black people think white ice is colder. And they think white ice cream tastes better. And they think white air smell better than black air. We have to get over our dependence on our oppressor. It's the bottom line. Even in sports today, when we talk about the egregious behavior and treatment of our people at the hands of NFL owners, the majority of the greatest players in the NFL at this point are black. Right? The league is, I believe, 85% black. Okay. When we talk about major college football, and this is why I love Deion Sanders, and a lot of people say, "Why would he go to Jackson State? They ain't gonna never be on par with Alabama and da 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 da." Well, it will never be that way unless we demand it to be that way. Right? Unless we support each other. Because at one point, the NFL would not let black players in either. And there's a brother by the name of Eddie Robinson who coached Grambling State University in Louisiana.
Yes.
He put so many young brothers in the NFL. Do you know how many Hall of Famers there are that were undrafted during that era because they went to Grambling, so they didn't get drafted. They got a tryout and they blew everybody away. And he won and was winning his all-time coach in football, college football history, because he had the best of best black talent. And so did a lot of other black colleges. But then guess what happened? They said, y'all can come over here and play with us. And so goes our universities and our institutions. Once again,
Yeah, man.
the
Eddie
narrative,
Robinson. Shout out to Eddie Robinson, man. My high school coach in California, Blue Underwood. He played for Eddie Robinson, and he told us a lot of stories about Eddie Robinson and Grambling, man. And yeah, man,
right.
he from what Coach Underwood would tell us, man, he was a character.
And so,
He was a great guy,
so
great
my so,
man.
so my point is like there's once again the method that we have right now is no matter what we establish for ourselves, and hip hop is the same way right now. No matter what we establish for ourselves and make it into something great and something phenomenal and some game changing, we're always willing to walk away from it or take it to the other side because everything they do is better. It's a mental condition, right? It's an inferiority complex for a lot of us. And it's a subconscious effort, even on my part. So I'm not separating myself from this saying, I'm going to move from this ghetto ass hood to a better neighborhood. And more often than not, that's either adjacent to or near the direction of some white folks. And
Right.
so I say, as a people, the most important thing that we can do is to do for self. Right now, there's more black millionaires and more black billionaires than there's ever been in the history of this country. There's no reason why we should be kissing some old white oil man's ass to play football when we should have our own leagues. If you can sell out an arena for a rapper, you can sell out an arena for some rappers at a concert at a football league that you own. Do you understand what I'm saying? We can put it all together. We can do a Tyler Perry stage show at halftime or before the game, or get some free tickets to a P. Diddy concert or wherever, Magic Johnson come in and give you free goddamn Starbucks, whatever. We have enough to do that right now. So we should be
We
moving
do.
toward that, right? The days of black people kissing ass to be included should be gone. They should be over. This is why I think it's very important for us to establish our own communications, our own networks, our own narratives amongst us. Talk about the things that matter to us. Talk about the things that are important to our community and not worry about all the outside interference. And I keep
Right.
telling my people, all we got is us, right? So, and it starts with you knowing that all you got is you. But outside of you, all we got is us because nobody's coming to save us, man. So we got to get away from the bullshit. We got to stop depending on them for everything and then get mad when it's not just. When Colin Kaepernick was released from the NFL, there should have been a black league, a black owner, a black billionaire somewhere saying, Cap, don't even worry about it. We're going to do this barnstorming thing. Get a bunch of your buddies who
Right.
can play. We go on the road and do 707. If that's the case, the people will support it. They say, if you
Yes.
build it, they will come. It's just got to be built, man. So, Tank, you want to shout anybody else before we get out of here this week?
Man, just want to once again give a shout out to the Milwaukee Marshall football team and the staff there. We're looking forward to having a good season, man. About over 80 kids signed up for football,
Okay.
according to Coach John Matthews today. So looking forward to seeing meeting some new kids and getting back to training, man. Other than that, man, shout out to everybody that joined us tonight, man. Enjoyed talking sports tonight, man, and just hey, ready to see what my Bucks do when playoff time comes.
We'll see. We're gonna be optimistic, man. We're gonna be optimistic, man. I'm not against the Bucks. I'm just a realist. I like to be honest about things. So, but they climbed a tough hill last year. If you'd asked me at this time last year, I'd say hell no, right? So we'll see, man. Shout
I
out to
want
MC
that feeling back, man. I want that deer. I want that Deer District energy back. I mean, hey, I want that energy back. I want that Deer District energy back. I want us to win again. I want us to repeat. And
We'll
I think
see.
we can do it.
The Deer District will pop during the first series, but I don't know how long it's gonna pop this year. So you might want to go to the first series and be like,
Yeah,
yeah,
as long as nobody get popped.
we'll talk about that tomorrow on Outlaw Radio. Make sure y'all tune in tomorrow night for Outlaw Radio. I got a bunch of people coming in, not tomorrow night, but I have some interesting guests coming up, man, for Outlaw Radio. So definitely we're gonna have some conversations that you don't want to miss. Any show that you want to see, whether it be the Big Black Sports Show, Outlaw Radio, or Outlaw Nation, they're all on my personal page. They're on all in the People's News Network, along with a lot of other podcasts and a lot of other platforms. Our sister group, And I'm not a hater like that. So if you got a platform and it's popping, let me know. Put it in People's News Network. We'll share, man. I'm a motivator, man. Information gang, man. Word mob type shit. Holla at my boy, get his book, man. Y'all make sure y'all tune in with us tomorrow night for Outlaw Radio. You got to think about it like Willie D thinks about it when he says, if your criticism of the black community outweighs your contribution, you're probably a coon. Chew on that.
These niggas wishy-washy, snitchy like Tekashi. I remember back to days on money in my pocket. Now I'm styling like a rich nigga's closet. Now hear my Samuel L. voice. What's in your wallet?